Sean, it's really nice to have you on here, man. How would you introduce yourself as someone who may not know you?
Um, I mean, I would introduce myself as someone who likes to go to the gym because that's what my life has mostly consisted of for the past 5 or so years. Um, I take bodybuilding pretty seriously. I have a pretty ginormous sense of humor. I have like a hard time taking stuff seriously, but like when I do get serious, I get serious.
So what was?
Other than that, I'd say I'm just I don't know if you can hear, but it's echoing pretty bad on my.
Yeah, but I'm muting myself, so it's like in the recording, it's not gonna be there. So
Okay. All right, my fault.
okay, so we're gonna get into all of that bodybuilding and fitness later on, but I wanted to first like ask like from the beginning, what was your childhood like? Like, were you active as a kid? Like, what did you start doing when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, so I played the routine baseball, soccer, football as a young kid,
Mm.
and then I'm sorry. I know. I mean, I've just always played sports. I kind of quit most of them up into my teenage years, and then like once I got to middle school, I was usually like the fastest kid on every team. You know what I'm saying? So I joined the track team, and I was like really good at long distance running. So I joined the cross country team. And then, yeah, I basically all throughout high school, I ran cross country and track.
Yeah. Who did you look up to as a kid? Like, who was like an idol of yours? Like, did you like into bodybuilding when you were a kid, or like did you want to do something else?
I mean, so my sister actually got into fitness when she was a senior in high school. So I would have been like 12 or 13, and she took me to the gym, and I got like super into it. And as I did like more research, more of my own research, I kind of figured out that since I hadn't hit puberty yet and I wasn't producing testosterone, I was going to have a really hard time like growing muscle. So I was just like, whenever I do hit puberty, I'm going to go back to the gym. And that's exactly what I did.
So when did you first get into fitness? Like, at what age?
I started to go into the gym like consistently by myself at 15. Yeah. Nice. Right. Well, I mean, I would say reach out to people.
Mm,
Don't be too scared to like if you are unsure about something, walk up to the biggest dude in the gym and be like, obviously what you're doing works. Give me some advice.
yeah, that's what I did a couple of months after that, and then I got and a friend that was training already for like 6 years, and that's like something that was really helpful to me because I already was training with someone. I had the advantage that I was social, right? But somebody may not be. But
Yep.
did you have a coach or an experienced friend when you were starting out?
No, actually, and I kind of had it twisted in my mind, considering I didn't talk to anyone or I didn't have a coach or anything. I kind of like put my own knowledge and my progress on like a pedestal, as in like I did this for myself. And then, I mean, I've coached myself through 5 bodybuilding shows, and pretty much
Oh
every single
shit.
time I get through one of those times where like I'm the person in charge of the decisions I'm making, I'm like,
Mm,
I should have definitely hired a coach because I didn't really know exactly what I was doing.
mm.
But I let my ego get in the way.
Holy shit, dude. But like, yo, going through 5 bodybuilding shows without a coach, that's like crazy. That's like honestly something that's really impressive, to be honest. So when
Thank
you
you.
when you first get into the gym, you start like loving it, or some people, right? At least like I started literally like nerding out about everything. I was watching like the usual,
Oh, 100%.
the Greg Doucette, Alex Eubank, fucking Chris Bumstead, all of these guys, right? Who did you look at when you first started going to the gym, right?
Well, honestly, the David Lade transformation,
Mm,
because I mean, I started at like under 100 pounds, like super skinny, and I just remember watching. It was like a 5-minute video, and
mm.
it was literally just him being like extremely skinny, way skinnier than I was, and then just being like the most aesthetic, like jacked dude. And I was like, kind of was like, oh, I could do that.
Mm.
Like I never really thought about it before, and when I saw the transformation, I was just like, I could definitely do that.
Holy shit. So I thought that I could out train a bad diet. And I quickly found out that over a year of training, I still looked like shit. Even though I was training to failure and training hard. And I was also doing powerlifting and all that bullshit. I was even trying to compete in powerlifting. I did one competition and ended up horribly. So after that, I started like taking that more seriously. But I wanted to ask you, if you could give in percentages, like is it like 50% diet, 50% training? Is like one more important than the other? How much percentage is what, would you say?
I mean, just from my coaching experience, I would say diet is more important as far as because most of these people's goals are either to gain muscle or lose fat. You know, they're not chasing like a specific number in the gym. For my own personal experience, I would say the training is more important because of how my body responds to food. Like right now, well, to gain muscle, I have to eat. Like right now, I'm at 4.4 thousand calories, which isn't easy to eat every day. But at the same time, like if I wanted to lose weight, I could eat 3,500 calories and lose weight. You know?
Yeah.
But if you're trying to like lose fat, the diet is 100%.
Do you know the YouTuber Hamza?
Like a fitness Hamza?
Hamza Ahmed has about 2 million subscribers. If like he does fitness and self improvement content in general. Anyways, basically that's not important. But the thing that he said is like the two main reasons why somebody gets stagnant in the gym is either they eat like shit, that's the first thing, or they train like a pussy. And they say that one of these two things are like the caps for the majority of guys that get stagnant at any point. And since we talked about diet, I want to ask you, how do you increase intensity in the gym, like in training? Like, how do you get used to training hard? Because for me, it was just training with a gym bro that was always like pushing me harder, like with a friend, etc. But like, how do you increase the pain tolerance? Should I say, like, you know, like to stop training like a pussy, like a lot of even me sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it honestly all boils down to your goals. If you don't have extremely serious goals, you'll obviously be less motivated to train as hard as you can. And sometimes even if you have those massive goals, training as hard as you can isn't even what's best. And that's from my own personal experience because I have a really, really easy time pushing myself to that point because I mean, that's what I like about the gym. So, I mean, for me, it's almost like I have to stop myself from training as heavy and as hard as I can every single time because just like reoccurring injuries that happen from the way I train. But for most people, if you're like starting in the gym, it's it's almost smarter to work up to not being a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like developing a mindset that you have to go all out at all times. Because most of the time it's just not true.
Yeah, interesting. I heard you mention injuries. What injuries did you have in the gym?
So like recently, I had a very scientific approach to my training like a year ago, and I
Mm.
honestly did not see as many gains as I have in the past 6 months just training till failure almost every single
Mm.
set I've done. But those 6 months of training like heavy compound lifts till failure twice a week, I've gotten really bad neck pain. I've gotten knots in my back, lower back issues, knee issues, elbow, shoulder issues. And these can pretty much all be combated by a smarter, less intense approach at training.
Mm.
But like my training is, I don't want to sound like full of myself or something, but it is intense enough to the point where there's nothing left and there's no doubt that I broke down the muscle enough.
Mm.
So like for most people, they probably would think they're training to failure and it's not that hard. But for myself, I feel like I can't really relate because I feel like I just kind of train. I like that training hard, and I almost have to stop myself because of the injuries I've gotten.
Yeah, man, we have the opposite problem. Used to always like train like such a bitch, man. I'd honestly, like, I'd go and the second day I wouldn't feel sore at all, like almost never. And then I have one training with one of my best friends from the gym who has been training for years. Bro, he'd push me, bro. The second day I fucking felt something like leg day was right. Like leg extensions
Oh
is the
yeah,
one thing that leg extension and squats. Those are the one thing that, man, I need to be mindful of like the RPE because, bro, so I leave so
yeah,
many
dude.
reps in the reserve. I tell myself 3 reps in the reserve. I leave out like 8, 6, like something crazy like
Yeah,
that, bro.
yeah,
I always like underestimate that, or not overestimate actually. So yeah, but going back to diet, there are these two diets that are the contrary, and I wanted to get your take on this. What do you think about the vegan and the carnivore diet? These two. If you had to choose between one of them, which one would you go with? And what do you think about these two as a general?
I mean, for me, as far as being a bodybuilder, I would probably go the carnivore route just because of the like the quality of protein. Obviously, you need carbs, but like having a higher fat, higher protein diet would probably drive muscle growth than like a soy protein diet. If you know, from being but if I'm going to be honest, I don't see a purpose in doing either
Mm.
unless you feel very strongly like something beyond the health benefits, because realistically just a balanced healthy diet is healthier than both of those options.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do agree with that. There was that one guy, Dr. Anthony Chaffee. I do keep mentioning him because he was on the carnivore diet for like 5 years and he was only eating beef and he didn't eat even chicken or pork or like anything like vegetables, fruits, nothing else. Like, look, he supplemented all the vitamins, right? And for like 5 years, he's like 45. The dude looks like 30. He's like jacked. But bro, 5 years
Yeah.
to only eat beef, bro. Like, I love a sirloin or a ribeye, but bro, having that shit for lunch and dinner every single day, holy shit, bro. I'd get fucking tired of it. But
That's
for
what I
me,
mean. That guy probably has some deep rooted connection with
mm,
steaks, and he just loves the carnivore diet. Mm. Yeah. Hell no. No. Well,
the enemy, and I disagree with that.
I mean, I eat 600 plus grams of carbs a day.
600?
Yes, and
What
it
the
is
fuck? Half a
typically
kilo of carbs. How?
pretty bad nutrients. And
Mm,
I will say I do have a very fast metabolism,
mm,
but I mean, there's kind of, as far as like your biomechanics and your gut health goes, obviously like eating whole foods is
mm,
smart for your digestion and your organs, but for like natural amateur bodybuilding purposes, you can do a macro based diet. Like here's my daily intake. Ready? Start the
mm.
day. Mass gainer. That's 100 grams of carbs. Breakfast, egg, sausage. That's 400 calories, 40 grams of carbs. 2 muffins at lunch. That's 150 grams of
Jeez,
carbs. With chicken sandwiches, that's 50 grams of carbs. And
man.
then pre-workout, I have 200 grams of rice, 7 rice cakes. That's 130 grams of carbs. And I mean, like, my workouts are, because it's fast digesting, it's readily available energy. So every day, that's all. Every day, I'm kind of restoring my load of carbohydrates to its
Mm.
maximum, and then I'm using all of that energy in the gym by the end of the night.
Holy shit, dude. Like I like less than 100 grams of carbs like usually nowadays. But yeah, definitely like when I try to bulk, like that's when I'll put like 200. That's like a lot for me. But like, bro, half a kilo of carbs, like that's like, fuck. I never heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that your stick shredded
Your
even eating that many
typical.
carbs.
Go ahead.
That you're staying shredded even eat on that many carbs. That's like crazy.
Right. Most bodybuilders, their macro split is usually a gram to a gram and a half of protein per pound body weight,
Mm.
and typically less than 100 grams of fat. And if you're bulking like me, like 4.4 thousand calories, and you're gonna have that low fat diet, so you're not putting on that excess fat during your off season. Like you said, I'm still lean. You got to eat a ton of carbs, and then you got to work them off at the same time because it allows you to have that much more energy,
Yeah.
which allows you to break down more muscle, which gives you better results.
Mm. Holy shit, dude. That's interesting. That's something cool. Learn a new thing every day. What's one meal that the majority of people think is healthy, but in reality it's shit?
Probably most vegan options.
I agree with that, man. So many.
Because
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, see, like I approach it from a bodybuilding standpoint, so I'm literally worried about muscle gain, fat loss,
Mm.
and there are plenty of vegan bodybuilders who can put on muscle through like those fake plant proteins. But if you are worried about your gut health and your microbiome, I think like one vegan like meat patty has like 8 times the preservatives of a McDonald's burger,
Jesus.
which is like crazy.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like when I did a podcast with Gage Smith, he said that he was playing a board game with his family and his uncle told him to go get the board game or some pieces, right? And he went to his jacket, or like a jacket fell off. He put the jacket back on and he looked in the pocket. And there were a bag of McDonald's fries. And he asked them, how long have those McDonald's fries been in there? 5 years. And they look just the same.
Wow.
Just soggy fries. 5 years. So like, considering that, I'm never eating that shit again, bro. Like last time I had McDonald's was like a year ago, year and a half ago, maybe. Like I ain't had that shit in a long time, to be honest. And now the opposite of that. What's like one meal that people think is unhealthy, but it's actually pretty good for you, but people are scared of eating?
I mean, using the opposite of that logic I just did for the vegan stuff,
Mm.
you can get away with eating some of these things that are unhealthy if you do it correctly.
Mm.
Hence
What do you
why
mean?
I eat 4,000 dirty calories pretty much every day. But like one meal specifically, I'd probably say like I'd go with like a turkey hoagie.
What's that?
Because yeah, that's actually like a Philadelphia thing where I'm from. But like a sub sandwich.
Interesting.
So I would get this like foot long sandwich every day at work, but I would get that when I was cutting. And like the people at my work would be like, bro, you're not gonna lose weight if you're eating that massive sandwich every day. And I was like, little do you know, this is just bread, turkey breast, lettuce, tomato, and the entire thing is 700 calories.
Yeah.
50 grams of protein. Like that's a pretty good meal.
Interesting. You know, we have a lot of stuff in the US that we don't have out here in Europe. Like Subway, we don't have that. Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, what else? Five Guys, Chick-fil-A, all of this stuff, like, you know, and everybody like keeps saying this, and I always like, is that the thing where they serve like Five Guys is burgers, right? And I always like I have to like, because I'm not used to hearing these things, I have to try to remember what that fast food is, you know. It's like KFC and McDonald's is everywhere. Burger King is pretty much everywhere too now at this point. Yeah, but those are things that, and also if you look in you go into these fast foods, you always see fat people there, which is not surprising, right? But why do you think there are so many fat people nowadays? Because if you look at the obesity rate back in 1995, for example, compared to now, 30 years ago, yeah, my math's right, 30 years ago, yeah. You look at that, bro, it's skyrocketed. It's like the bull run in crypto right now. It's like it went up, right? And it's like, why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think it's a massive switch in priorities as far as like society goes. I feel like before, when more people were in shape, like if you look back at these old like gym class videos from the 1930s or 1940s, they have like these kids doing extreme physical fitness, and their priority was like, these are the men we're going to raise, they're going to go to war, we're going to fight, we have to have a strong country. And kind of just like over the modernization, like from the 2000s, especially in America, the priority has switched from that like healthy lifestyle to you can be unhealthy and it's perfectly fine. You can be mentally unhealthy and it's perfectly fine, because we're not in those situations anymore where you have to be physically fit.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. Like, bro, if you look what kids do in PE right now, just a little bit of stretching and just some, what do they even do? They go on walks, for example, and that's it. Like a 30-minute cardio session once per week. Like, is that how you can keep the kids healthy?
No.
Yeah, so what do you think about
that? And kind of just a side effect of that being, it's extremely convenient, and with like jobs being less readily available and prices of everything skyrocketing, that easily accessible junk food is just like a no-brainer, rather than going to Whole Goods, getting that same meal for 21 bucks, you know?
Yeah, dude, like honestly, as soon as I started making some money online, the first thing that I was doing like is like genuinely like having a tomahawk steak every once in a while, like, or a ribeye or some high quality food. Because bro, like, I'm sorry, but eating a kebab for $5 like after every gym session is not good long term. All right, and I do feel like having a tomahawk 20-30 bucks extra is kind of worth it over the long run. Okay, like you look back at it and at the nutrition of it is like so much better. But like I get it why some people that might not be accessible like at the moment, but I do feel like like eating healthy doesn't have to be expensive, dude. You can buy some eggs, you can buy some cheese, nuts, and you just stop eating the bullshit.
Well,
in my opinion.
You know how much my mom just got eggs for at the grocery store?
How much?
$12. 18. That was like
what the
$3 5 years ago.
What
Less.
the fuck? Dude, American prices are okay. They're a bit wild. I can get 30 eggs for $7 or $6 or $7.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's almost like completely different in America because of just like majority of the population is pretty much in that cycle of going to work, eating the food that they eat, not prioritizing fitness. And it kind of just has spiraled over the past 20 years.
Yeah, but also like you have to look at it that like the salaries are completely different in the US, okay? Like here, depending on the country in Europe, like for example, here in Czech Republic, like the normal salary is around $1,000 a month to 1,400, like, right? Like if you make 2,000, you need to have a college degree for that, and you need to have like a really like a good degree, and that's considered like a good job, like 2,000. And whereas 2K a month in the US is like normal, right? 2K is like even like I don't know, you tell me, but I hear a lot of people like saying 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand a year is like average. And I feel like, I don't know, what do you feel about that? You're American, you can tell me.
I mean, I dropped out of college my first year, so I only have a high school degree. And right now I'm working landscaping full time as a 20-year-old, and I make $2,500 a week.
Holy shit.
And realistically,
dude.
Yeah.
Holy.
Or not a week, a month. Did I say a week?
Yeah, a month. But 2,500 is still good.
A month. Yeah. That's what I mean. But it's like, like my parents see me go to that job every day, and they're like, you got to do something else, you know?
Yeah. Bro, like 2,500 a month as a 20-year-old, that here in Czech Republic, that would be considered like, whoa, that's pretty good, you know? And it's like, yeah, holy shit. Yeah, it's like it's different, right? It's like completely different worlds. Like Europe and America, it's like completely different. So I kind of get that. Speaking of the obesity increase, what do you think about people who abuse Ozempic? Like, what do you think about Ozempic in general and people that use Ozempic the wrong way, like, you know, that don't actually need it, that don't have diabetes? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think like if you're gonna take Ozempic, not develop any of the habits to like actually lose the weight, you're gonna just gain it back. So if you take Ozempic just to gain the weight back, it's like you're an idiot, and that is a horrible use of putting that drug in your body. But at the same time, if you're prioritizing your family and you have health constraints and you work a full-time job, and you're like, if I take this drug that I can easily afford, it'll make me lose 40 pounds and I can just enjoy life much better, and they don't put it back on immediately after, I feel like that's an okay use. You know what I'm saying? Instead of they're overweight, and they understand if they lost the weight, they would feel better, but they don't have the time or even the discipline to do it. And if you do that, you know what I'm saying? You can't go make a weight loss transformation or something. You know, you didn't put in any of the work.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay to do that.
In my opinion, it's like build a good habits first. Okay, learn how to eat, learn how to train consistently, be able to like, you know, be reliable on yourself. And then it's like the same with supplements. I heard the quote like, supplements are a waste of money if you don't know how to eat. And if you like, and I kind of agree with that, because so many people think that supplements just make up for a bad diet, whereas it's supposed to supplement a diet. It's not supposed to replace food. It's like you're still gonna look like shit even if you take 5 grams of creatine and you take fucking all these multivitamins and all that shit, right? Like I take a lot of supplements, right? But I had to put in, like, I have 3 years worth of experience and I know how to eat. And I did start like putting a lot of money into supplements after like the second year when I really learned how to eat properly. But it's like so many. This was also me in the beginning, right? And like the first half a year of training, I started, bro. I was like, it's like just this shiny new thing syndrome. It's like I was having a pre-workout. I had a fucking caffeine addiction at 15, bro. On pre-workouts, I bought every single fucking mass gainer or protein powder that I could get my hands on because I didn't know how to get my protein otherwise. I was buying every single fucking supplement, where I was draining my bank account on these supplements, and that still look like shit that have titties, and it's still like, bro, still be weak as fuck, like. And then, at what point should someone like start taking supplements? And I personally think it's when you learn how to eat. But what supplements should someone start taking in the beginning, in your opinion, that are like essential for good?
I mean, I think some that are essential are just some that are going to increase your like cognitive function during the day rather than your performance in the gym. So like if I was going to give someone like a base supplements, it would be like fish oil, vitamin D3, a vitamin C supplement, magnesium supplement. And then if they wanted to get into more of like the fitness enhancers, because in reality, exactly what you said, if you don't have your diet, if you're not going to progress without the supplements aren't going to make you progress. But I'd put them on like L-carnitine, L-glutamine, betaine anhydrous, you know, just like I could go through a massive list right here.
Yeah. I'd say like probably creatine, vitamin D and C. Thinking zinc. Zinc is like really good for tests. And yeah, to be honest, like there are more stuff, but if you're like really on a budget, like vitamin D, C, creatine, and zinc, like these are like, for me personally, this is like my basis. These are like my priority. Like I have to get these even if I have to borrow the money, like if I was broke, right? So this is like the thing that I would get like my hands on immediately. But how important is sleep? Because again, there are a lot of caps for guys, right? And they like neglect like either training hard, either eating correctly, either sleeping, or like stretching or anything else. But what do you think about sleep? How important is sleep?
I mean, sleep is the most important part for gaining muscle. Because as soon as you fall asleep, your body starts to recover. And first, it recovers your cognitive ability. So it doesn't even start repairing your physical damages from the day until like your third-ish REM cycle. So if you're only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep, you're not fully recovering from the gym session the day before. And I hear so many people say, oh, when I do get 8 hours of sleep, I feel more tired when I wake up. And it's just because you're not used to it. Your body went through so many more REM cycles that thought it slept for an extra day, you know? It really is super important. And I will say my sleep quality is horrible. And I shouldn't be giving this advice based off my own. But based off my situation and my daily routine, I'm kind of fine with sacrificing some of my sleep by, actually going to the gym still that day and having a good workout. Because I can't go to the gym till late at night. So if I'm taking pre-workout, caffeine usually has a half-life of 12 hours. So I got caffeine in my system the entire time I'm sleeping, which is really
shit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna tell a quick story about my worst, like, so that day that I realized, like, you don't do stupid shit. Okay, I was like a power lifter. I was preparing like for a competition. Like, I'm professional, right? But juniors, like 15 till 17, right? I was like 16 at this point. And I was, oh man, it's such a stupid thing. I did I had a deadlifting session, right? So I was like training back, lower back, and hamstrings and glutes, and then I did the heavy deadlifts, right? And then I went home and I was playing video games still these times, right? I stopped playing video games a long time ago, but these times I was still like playing video games, and man, I was playing video games all night and I didn't go to sleep, and I didn't sleep all night. Like I went to sleep at like 4 a.m. and I woke up at 6 a.m. because I had to go to school and then to the gym. So I went to the school. I was like tired in school, you know, in class. Yeah, and then I went after school. I went to the gym, bro, and I was like, I'm 2 hours of sleep, not even that properly. I went to the gym, and after you know what was the stupidest mistake? Because didn't like when I was powerlifting, I didn't like train legs or back or chest, etc. I was training either bench press, deadlift, or squats. And I was training everything around that. So it was like either bench, deadlift, or squat day, right? And I didn't realize that if I hit a squat day after a deadlift day, I'd still be hitting hamstrings and the muscles from the deadlift day before. So I'm more prone to injury at this point. So even on 2 hours of sleep, feeling like a zombie, blasting pre-workout, I went to heavy squatting, bro. I was trying for a PR again, and that's where I injured my right hamstring, and I couldn't squat for 6 months after that, right? And I injured my right hamstring because I hit like my hamstring was sore. The hamstrings were sore as fuck. My lower back was sore. I'm glad I didn't injure myself really badly on those heavy squats because I was doing deadlifting PRs and then squatting PRs the next day after that, and I didn't even sleep, so I didn't even recover. With sore muscles and everything. That was like the stupidest decision. But when you're 16, you do stupid shit like this and then you learn your lesson. And now I have a cool story about that. Now I squat, but again, now I'm not like focused on powerlifting anymore. Now I'm more on like, you know, trying to build up a good body. But it's like even now if I squat heavy, I make sure I don't have sore muscles and I recover properly.
Yeah. Most people wouldn't even make the correlation between them not getting sleep the next day and that injury.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they would just go, "Oh, something happened." You know, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's because I didn't take the steps necessary to recover."
And also, like, caffeine doesn't really give you energy; it just suppresses the hormone of tiredness. I forgot what's the name of that hormone. Is it prolactin? I think I'm not sure if it's prolactin. The hormone that makes you tired. Sure. I think it's prolactin anyways.
Really?
Caffeine doesn't give you energy, okay? Caffeine just suppresses that hormone so you don't feel tired. But your body like physically is like tired. You just don't feel it in your like, you know. So that's like the one thing that I realized after a time.
Makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah. How do you optimize sleep? How do you make your sleep better? Because a lot of times I go to sleep after blue light. I don't fall asleep all night. I sleep a couple of hours sometimes. And now I improve my sleep a lot. There are even some supplements, but it's also like certain habits like fucking having blue light blockers like an hour before sleep or drinking warm or room temperature water instead of cold water or being fasted like an hour, 2, 3 before sleep. These are like things, but how would you optimize sleep?
Yeah. Realistically, I'm not like I don't take any of my own advice. I'm not going to come from personal experience here, but I would say, you know, get your last meal in an hour and a half before you sleep, so your body isn't digesting food instead of recovering while you're sleeping. Yeah, like don't be having your screen 3 inches from your face while you're trying to go to sleep. You know, like some people don't even like put their phone in the room or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's like you're obviously not going to fall asleep if you're actively interested in something on your phone. It's just like that's a no-brainer.
People fall asleep with their phones.
Yeah, no, I've definitely still fallen asleep even with like my phone in my hand. But I'd say get a good supporting neck pillow.
Really?
Well, I feel like that's where most of my injuries are from. I sleep wrong and I wake up, my neck is super stiff. And that's probably from overworking myself in the gym frequently. But yeah, I mean, if you can optimize your sleep, You definitely should, because it'll make a massive difference.
You know, I heard about like some supplements, right? And I tried magnesium, but I didn't feel like that much of a difference with sleep, to be honest, after magnesium. But what I did feel is vitamin C, because it will decrease your cortisol. And bro, like vitamin C did a big difference for me, which surprised me. I thought that magnesium is gonna make me fall asleep easy. It didn't do shit like for me. I didn't feel it maybe, but like vitamin C changed the game for me like completely, and I was so surprised. I never saw it in a million years. And speaking about the neck pillow, man, I need that shit, bro, because after like I train neck, bro, I need that shit. Like it hurts to even like turn my fucking neck.
Yeah.
And like, you know, so many people like don't think about muscles like forearms or neck, right? Like to train your fucking forearms, for example, or your neck or calves. Even calves are like neglected, or like adductors, you know, and stuff like this, or abs. Some people don't train abs, right, at all. And what do you think about these things I mentioned, like these body parts that most people don't train? And what do you think about that?
Well, I'd say I can come at it from two standpoints. From being a coach, I mean, it would just boil down to what your goals are. If your goals are to be a rock climber, I'd be like, train the shit out of your forearms and hands and back. If you wanted to be a sprinter, I'd be like, get really strong glutes, get really strong calves, really strong hamstrings. But from a bodybuilding standpoint, glutes are definitely. Did you even mention glutes? I don't know. I know a lot of dudes who neglect glutes for sure. Glutes are very important as far as like having a balanced physique. But honestly, from a bodybuilding standpoint, if you have small forearms and calves, yes, it will look weird. But like if they aren't as developed as everything else, it's negligible because they're not. Like, if you look at C-Bum, he obviously has monster calves if you were to see them in person.
Yeah.
Like in comparison to his quads and his frame, they do look small. But like in bodybuilding, they're not really taking into consideration your feet, calves, hands, forearms. But they can definitely add to your look.
I disagree on the calves. In bodybuilding competitions, they do look at the calves a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, but they're not. It's not like if you have smaller calves and a more balanced physique than the guy next to you who has these massive calves, you're still gonna win. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, basically, yeah, of course. And also, like, I feel like training neck is just like, it's not for like, okay, the aesthetics, obviously, like it looks better, like it's more attractive, right? That's one thing, but it's like also it could save your life. Like if you're in a car crash and you have like a muscular neck, that can be the one thing that keeps you from not snapping your neck and not dying, you know. So it's like, maybe it's like even practical in this sense, or you don't get knocked out in a street fight or in the boxing, you know. It's like I do boxing for the past almost a year. Like neck training, they like really put an emphasis on that. Mike Tyson had the thickest neck, bro, in the world, bro. Like that dude, holy shit.
Have you seen the video of him doing the neck warm-ups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I did that shit with elastic bands, bro. The second day, man, it hurts to even like hold your head, bro. You just want to sleep all day and then fucking let it not hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Oh man, but also like, bro, be careful with training neck and training heavy, because bro, neck injuries, bro, you don't want to have that shit. Holy.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't want to experience that, to be honest.
I've thought I've literally broken my neck like multiple times before because I would like, and it was always waking up out of bed. I'd wake up and it would be like kind of stiff, and like I would move it and it would pinch something, and it would be like, I can't turn my head this way. Yeah. And like it was like, holy shit, like what did I just break in my neck? And then it's just something like tight, and it'll loosen up over like 2 or 3 days. But it's like a really bad pain that I wouldn't want.
Yeah,
and think that they broke their neck.
Stretching can help with that. Like even stretching neck, it's like these people usually don't stretch calves, for example, and they don't stretch like some parts. But it's like, okay, first of all, let's get into the whole stretching like thing. How important do you think is stretching? Because in my opinion, as a ex bodybuilder, as an ex powerlifter, I do believe that it's very good for injury prevention, and it does put more blood flow into the muscles and help you grow the muscles better. But what do you think about stretching? How important is that?
I really like, I will stretch after a leg day, and I'll do like dynamic stretches before every single workout.
Mm.
But I've noticed my muscles being tight. Like, there's specific tendons. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's in the back of your knee at the very top of your calf. I had some sort of like physicist power lifter guy be like, yo, I know exactly why your patella hurts. So like my knee was hurting, and I was showing him when it hurts, where it hurts, and he was like, that's because this tendon in your calf is sore. He puts his thumb on this tendon for 30 seconds, just pressing super hard. He goes, do this where I like extend my knee backwards like 3 times. And he's like, now do a squat. He's like, did it hurt? I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, bro, you gotta stretch. And I was like,
Dude.
holy shit. And the same thing, I used to have like a crunchy shoulder. And I realized it was just because my bicep tendon that goes from my bicep into like my chest was so sore. The same dude puts his thumb, digs it into my bicep tendon, and now my bicep or my shoulders are perfectly fine.
Holy
So like,
shit.
if one thing is tight, it's just going to cause a chain reaction throughout your whole body.
Dude, are you sure that wasn't Mike Ezerto?
Yeah, it's funny. His name is Big Mike at the gym.
Interesting. Holy shit. How do you get through the days when you really don't feel like it? You had bad nights of sleep or whatever, and you really don't feel like it's raining outside. How do you get through those days?
Honestly, I feel like with the gym specifically, I've had so many of those days where it was just like I didn't feel like it, and I did, and it was like such a good workout, and I was glad that I went. To now where it's like if I'm having a bad day, I know the gym will make me feel better.
Yeah.
As far as like everything else, like going into work, it's like, how do you develop discipline? You have discipline. What do you do when you don't want to do it? You do it. And I mean, it's just life.
Yeah, in my opinion, I used to have that because the gym used to be the only thing where I would be like fully mindful. And mindfulness is really like the thing that brings you the joy of life. When you don't have second thoughts, when you can actually control your mind. Meditation helps with this a lot. But yeah, that used to be the only thing that I was mindful at. And nowadays, like sometimes I really don't want to train anymore. And it's because I find mindfulness in other stuff, and even like the podcast. I do a podcast every couple of days, right? I'm mindful throughout this. I'm doing other business stuff, and it's like I'm fully mindful at different aspects of my life, and I feel like I'm not that dependent on the gym in that aspect of my life. So now I have to find like a different reason why to enjoy the gym as much, and I still enjoy, bro. I still love training. But it's like, for me, it's more of the social aspect. I go to the gym, you go to a commercial gym, right? Where the rich people go, right? And I always see like my same friends, right? And most of my friends are actually older than me, like in their 30s, It's like weird. But it's like, it's always like from that social aspect. You make the gym. I feel like the reason why a lot of people quit is because they didn't turn the gym into a lifestyle. They made it as a period of time until I lose weight and I'm gonna stop. Right? If you make it as a lifestyle, like you have a certain network of people around it, right? You have the friends around it. You incorporate it into a routine, whatever. You make it a part of your life. It make it like brushing your teeth every morning or every evening. At that point, it's like it's not gonna be hard for you to force yourself to go to the gym, right? So I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons why people quit. But why do you think some people quit, right? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think we're trying to develop a skill in any disciplinary action. It doesn't even have to be the gym. You're gonna reach a roadblock. You're gonna burn out. And I mean, that just separates the people who actually want it because they push through that from the people who don't actually want it because then they give up. And I think those people who give up get into it for reasons, and that's why they don't stick to it. I mean, I know people revert back to their old habits, and starting in 1 week, you're not going to have the whole gym down in 1 week. But if you really wanted it, you would.
Funny you
And I feel
mentioned.
like I'm almost lucky to say that because I never even thought of the gym as something that was like daunting. Like, I always wanted to go to the gym, and then I developed a habit. And like before I ever had one of those days where it was like, I don't want to go to the gym, it was already a habit. And I was already just like, I have to go to the gym. What am I talking about?
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned burnout. I did make a video on burnout, and it's really the main reason why people burn out at anything is because they do something they don't particularly enjoy at the time, which is usually when you start going to the gym, you're nervous, you don't know the people there, you're a fat kid maybe, and you're trying, or the skinny kid or the fat kid, you're trying to get used to it. So like you don't particularly enjoy it at first. You get no reward. That's another reason why people get burned out, is because they don't see the gains immediately after like the first 2 weeks, majority. And it's like maybe that's like another reason. And it's genuinely because some people put a timestamp on it. I'm going to go to the gym for 6 months and I'm going to lose this amount of pounds or kilos or pounds in 6 months in this amount of time. And when you don't even get close to that, you just quit in the second month because you said, I should be already a third of the way there, but I'm not. And they just give up.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like when you change one of these 3 reasons, you stop putting a timestamp on it. You find a way to enjoy it. So you make friends in the gym. You start eating foods that you like that are healthy and all of that. Then at that point, you like kind of avoid burning out because you're now enjoying it and making it a part of your lifestyle. And that's like one of the main reasons why I think people give up. But did you want to quit at any point? Did you ever like think like quitting the gym?
Yeah.
Really?
During my first year after dropping out of college, I had the most motivation in my life. And I was just like, I'm going to pursue bodybuilding full time. I believe in myself. I see my genetics in comparison to other people. I think I can do it. Like I have the potential. And when nothing really worked for me as far as like making money through social media or getting any recognition from brands or anything, I was like, dude, did I fuck up? Like, should I have gone to school? Should I have gotten my degree? Should I have just lived this life with structure rather than this uncertainty that I live with every day? But now, a year later, staying consistent with those things that once meant so much to me, I'm like, damn, I was consistent through like a depression. Now that I feel like life is good, I know that I have this lifestyle on lock.
Yeah, man, like that motivation high is dangerous because you know it will run out at some point where things don't, it's like the newbie gains and then things start slowing down and you need to sacrifice more to make more progress. And as a newbie, you can get away with eating like 50% shit, 60% shit and still make muscle, right? You can still get away with eating like a hog and still make muscle. But after a while, when you're trying to get that veins on your six pack and you're really trying to maximize, you cannot really get away with like eating more than half of your foods from shit and not counting your macros and eating half a gram of protein per body weight. And it's like, you don't get away with that shit after the first 2 years, right? You don't, after a while, like you have to like sacrifice more and it requires more of you. And yeah,
Definitely.
And did you do you think you'll ever like do bodybuilding like professional, like competing?
Well, see, my original goal when I dropped out of school was if I can make a living through social media, whether it be bodybuilding, whether it be social media, bodybuilding, coaching, then I'll be fine. because realistically, what it takes to be a professional bodybuilder is to blast an unhealthy amount of steroids.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can make a living through fitness without having to use steroids, then I probably wouldn't pursue professional bodybuilding to make that income. But over the past year, I've kind of, by trying social media and trying coaching, I feel like my passion is majority with bodybuilding. So I don't know if I'll ever go all the way, but I feel like I'm considering it more now than I was like a year ago.
And yeah, I think that even natural bodybuilding can be a good path. Like, again, it doesn't pay maybe as much as, like, blasting a ton of gear, right? But then, like, the sacrifice, right? It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, the main federation just created more natural shows. So, I mean, the sport of natural bodybuilding is growing. So maybe, who knows? Maybe in 5 years it'll be big.
Yeah, and when you say, like, if you can make a living with coaching and social media, like, nowadays, yes, you can. It's like not an eighth anymore. Like, you see so many people with, like, mediocre physiques that make like 10K a month, and it's like, it's just because they got the right attention at the right time and they marketed in the right way. So it's like, at this point, sometimes it's almost like as if your physique, you can be mid and you can just be couple steps ahead of the person who has never stepped into a gym. And you can convert those people. You can close those people on a sale. You can get those as clients. And realistically, you don't have to be, and also you have to think about this. The person that starts going to the gym, does he want Mr. Olympia to train him who he can't relate at all? Or does he want a guy that was fat as him and he started going to the gym for 2 years, and after 2 years he got a fairly defined six-pack and a pretty good physique? He wants someone that he can relate to, he can see himself becoming. He can't see himself becoming C-bum when he's a fat ass, right? But he can see himself becoming this guy who was at the same point as him. So it's like, it's even better, like, closing and getting a client that way, because people trust you more and people relate more when you're like natty and they can see themselves become like you. So I feel like that's like another thing that's kind of part of it. Did you ever think about, like, hopping on gear eventually?
Well, that's like the main, like, deterrent from professional bodybuilding. If I didn't know negative health effects, I definitely would have already been on it.
Yeah.
But because I do so much research, I know, especially when your brain isn't fully developed, that you can seriously, and I know how my personality is already. So I feel like I don't want to mess with myself psychologically until my brain is fully developed. But I don't know, dude. It's so tempting because I know so many kids my age doing stuff with no side effects, and they're making crazy gains. Obviously, in the long run, there will be side effects, but it's like, shit, bro, it is tempting, and it's kind of sad that it's so tempting.
And people look at, like, people like Sam Sulek, and he started blasting gear like 17. He said in a podcast, right? He started taking gear on at 17. At my age, bro, right now, I would never, right, at this point. Maybe like in my late 20s, perhaps. But I do want to make sure that I have kids before I take any gear, because they can make infertile because the endocrine disruptors. And also, like, the spike in hormones, like in testosterone particularly. That's why a lot of bodybuilders had to deal with gyno at some point, right? And that's like breast mass in chest. And it's like, dude, you work so hard, you start taking tren or whatever, and then you have to have breast mass, like titties, and you have to get surgery because you're developing like a woman. Because bro, like, imagine how depressing that must be. You thought that testosterone is gonna make you more of a man, and then you get titties, bro.
I mean,
like, gyno, yeah.
From being a bodybuilder, and I'm sure if I had a coach through my preps, I would have kept my head on straighter. But it is definitely a mentally taxing sport.
Yeah.
And if you're messing with your brain, like psychologically, with these massive doses of different anabolic steroids and different compounds, it's like, I mean, that's why so many bodybuilders kill themselves, or
Mm.
like 80% of bodybuilders who quit the sport, they say like the worst time in their life. They say they hate bodybuilding. It gave them all these
Mm.
disorders. You know what I'm saying? It really takes
Yeah.
like the perfect genetics for you to be able to take steroids and not like either die early or lose your mind.
Yeah, and also it's like,
You have to be super tough.
yeah, and also it's not like just going to the gym, going to the big guy that sells you fucking sells strength to you for $29.99 in the locker room, and you fucking don't know what the fuck that is, how much you should take, and all
Exactly.
that.
It's
If you have it
solid
regulated
oil.
by your doctor, you go on HRT, then TRT, and it's like you have regulated doses. Okay, that's something I can respect. Okay, it's also like people like Sam Sulek. I'm gonna mention him again. The dude is jacked. Like, if you see right now how he's looking before the competition, he looks absolutely amazing. But then you have to take a look at people like, I don't know if you saw, Greg Doucette did a video, 14-year-old on trend, and Cody something. He has like 30,000 followers on Instagram. I forgot his full name. Cody something. And Greg Doucette, like, the dude was 14. He had acne like horrible. He was looking like a chicken rooster, bro. He had like all over his chest and his back. And at 14, everybody was, where are the parents? But you have to realize that that dude probably like got it from some gym bro, you know? And it's like the parents think that a kid is going to the gym, that's good. And it's a good thing. And then, bro, it's like, how at that point, like, dude, bro, after you take trend at 14, there's no going back after that. Like, dude, that's like, holy, like, bro, 14 is a new level.
I know, bro. I mean, I know 14-year-olds taking steroids at my local YMCA. Yeah. I mean, this kid isn't 14. I'm thinking of one specific kid, but like, he was 14 at one point. And I know like 3 or 4 of his buddies also take these drugs, and they don't do anything to combat the side effects. They don't do post psychotherapy to get their hormones back normal. And it's like, these kids are going to crash their testosterone, either continue gym and just like actually have future in it because they started so young and die early, or they're just going to give up in a year and be like, damn, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. I can't believe I was a stupid 15-year-old, you know?
Yeah, and bro, you get the infertility from that and all that shit. Like, holy, bro, like so much stuff happens from that. But I want to ask you, at what point, like, obviously going for the needle makes you not natty, but at what point can it's also like not natty? Because some people say that Torkestrone or peptides are not natty. You know, Torkestrone, the natural steroid. Jesse James West did a video on that, and a couple of Will Tennyson probably too. Peptides and a lot of other shit. At what point is it not natty anymore?
I would say if it's banned by the weightlifting, what is it called? Weightlifting Administration drug. WADA. I don't know. It stands for something, but that's a Greg Doucette philosophy. Like, if it's on this list and you take it, you are no longer natural. But like, if I'm going to be for real, I've taken, well, Turkesterone isn't on that list. The like the Turkesterone and Ecdysterone, those aren't. I wouldn't consider those unnatural, and I've personally taken both of those because I don't consider them unnatural. Peptides, I don't know. The only peptide I'm really familiar with is BPC. And just based off of like the benefits of that, I'm thinking about taking it. Is it going to give me any anabolic muscle growth? No. So like, is it unnatural? I don't know. Technically, by all standards, but I would say the moment you start to take a anabolic steroid, a SARM, hormone secretagogue, you are no longer natural. Like, as soon as you're messing with your hormones, you aren't natural. And obviously, like, testosterone, ashwagandha, that's going to mess with like your tests and other levels and stuff, but it's not going to have an anabolic effect. It'll just, you know, increase a little bit or help you like, get a little bit hungrier.
I was surprised you mentioned ashwagandha. In my opinion, that doesn't make that much of a difference. In my opinion,
it doesn't. But like, I would almost put that on the same as like testosterone because they both have minimal effects as far as like testosterone. It's an I'm trying to think. It's an ecdy steroid. So like it's not a fake hormone, it's not artificial, but it's not a SARM, but it also won't increase your test like something like in clomiphene. The results you'll get from testosterone will probably be similar to ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Not for the same reasons, but as far as like, because ashwagandha will decrease your cortisol, which will let you sleep better, which will have an impact on your testosterone. I know testosterone is the same type of way. It's like a counter effect increasing testosterone. That's not a direct effect.
Yeah. Do you have haters?
Do I have haters? Realistically, I would say no, but like probably. I mean, I've heard a ton of people that I used to know say bad things about me behind my back. So, I mean, if you would consider that a hater, I'd say yes. But at the same time, I just like those people don't really exist in my world. So it's like, is that a hater or are they just, I don't know.
Yeah,
they're not like actively being a hater.
Realistically, the definition of a hater is just someone that wishes you not success. They don't wish for themselves to be more successful. They wish on your downfall. So they don't have to, when they compare themselves to you, you're not putting a spotlight on their inadequacies anymore. And I want to ask you the opposite of that. Do you have someone that inspires you right now?
Yeah. Honestly, like it's mostly people through that I like go to the gym with, or I know through mentorships or coaching. Because it's all built around like a positive, progressing mindset.
How often do you train a week nowadays?
5 times a week.
Yeah, that's like
sometimes 4 actually.
Yeah, that's like the most common, but it's actually the most optimal nowadays. Like, okay, I used to train 7 days a week too, but then the cortisol levels, bro, no level of vitamin C will help your cortisol at that point, bro. You're lasting a cardio session in the morning and a workout 7 days a week, your cortisol is through the roof and your test is crashing. Like, dude, that's terrible. So I want to get in some rapid fire questions before we wrap up. Ready?
All right.
Okay. What's the best advice you've been given?
Probably. Oh man, I don't know if that's a rapid fire question. I don't think it was given to me. More, I seeked it out online. But if one man can, another one can.
Yeah. That's a good advice.
I feel like that put it into perspective that I have the potential, you know? Actually, like literally 3 weeks ago, some old head at my gym, I failed a max, which was 385. So like it's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And he tells me I shouldn't be going through one rep maxes unless I can bench 135 for 100 reps.
What? That's weird. Specific advice. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like there's zero correlation between any of that. It's just this guy's in his head created some sort of method that works.
Like 130 pounds, like 60 kilos for 100 reps. So that's like the strangest advice I've ever heard. Like, why is that so specific? Yeah. What the fuck? What are you trying to be? A fucking repetition maxer? Like, bro, that's weird as fuck. Do you have a favorite
Makes
quote?
sense.
Do you,
What?
do you have a favorite quote?
Quote. I really like this one. It kind of rings off my head a lot.
Mm.
We are all born perfectly unique, yet most of us die copies of another.
Oh shit, yeah. Dude, that's like the one regret I never want to have. You know, pleasing other people
Yeah.
instead of living for yourself. That's why I left high school when I was 16. I was already like
Dang, bro. Good for you,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, because I was already making some money online, and I was like, okay, you know what? Even the best case scenario, I get this high school degree, I still just get a job that makes me like $1,000 a month here. Like, that's not the life that I want to live, even in the best case scenario. So that's why I decided to leave. Because even the best case scenario was shit. It was like miserable. I saw like most of the people that I know here, they're miserable too. So it's like I didn't want to seek that, and yeah, a lot of people die at copies of each other, which is sad.
Right.
And you have to be mindful.
That really resonated with me because in high school, I felt like that was my exact like mindset. It was like, oh, all of these people are dictating what is cool, what isn't cool, what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable. And then when I graduated high school, I was like, I can't believe I was like on a daily basis considering all of these people's thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
And it's like I was just a collection of everyone else. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, dude. It's like you have to realize that at the end of the day, you live your life for yourself, not for others. It's like, okay, you wanna have that Porsche 911 GT3 in your garage. Your friends are not gonna do the work for you and buy you that car. You're the only person on this earth who wants you to do well. It's like you might as well do the best, because these people, they won't do the work for you. They won't do the good things for you. They will only bash you if you do something wrong. Then what does it matter what they think at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what's the
100%.
I want to ask you, what's the proudest moment in your life?
I would say winning a natural pro card. Just because I got into bodybuilding like when I was 15, 16 years old. And I never even really thought of competing. I just liked training that much. And the first time competing, I came in second place. And from that moment, I fell in love with bodybuilding. I took it so personally. I hit the craziest. I was just like, I'm never letting this happen to me again, bro. I thought I was in an anime, you know? And then my next bodybuilding competition after that, I won every overall in the entire show. And it was just like, damn, the hard work paid off.
Yeah, dude, holy shit. So, how would you describe yourself in, let's say, 2 words?
Intense and well thought out. That's more than 2 words.
Yeah, well thought out. That's 4 words in total. Holy shit. Yeah. I do.
Phrase.
Yeah, let's say a phrase. Yeah. What's the purpose of life, in your opinion?
To continuously progress in the direction that you want. And if you haven't thought about what you want, you need to start doing so.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of a selfish question, but I'm still going to ask. Because I'm 17, I'm going to ask you, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
I would say, don't be afraid to be different. I mean, bro, if I was 17 and I was sitting on a phone, like talking to someone I didn't know, I'd be shitting my pants with anxiety and just like insecurity, you know? So like you're already a million steps ahead of me, but realistically to my younger self, I would just say when you feel like something's important to you, go all the way and don't let anyone else's opinion impede on what you're thinking, you know?
Yeah. Man, I used to always like try to look cool or just to please people or not to not be cringe. But I have to realize that no matter how well you do your content, and no matter how good your physique is, bro, like some people literally comment on Jesse James' video that he's cringe. Like at that point, bro, to some people you're always gonna be cringy, awkward, weird because they don't get it. And you have to realize that there are certain types of people that get you, and you want to talk to those people. Like you, just because someone thinks your content is bad, that doesn't always mean that it's overall bad. It's bad for them because that's not who your target audience is. All right, so that's maybe the reason why I believe a lot of people like struggle with trying to please people, and even struggle with they want to start posting content but they're afraid of what their friends will think. And I'm thinking, like, dude, in a couple of years maybe you're not even going to be talking to them. Are you really going to live your life for someone else?
Dude, I'm the perfect example for that. I literally waited till I was out of high school, and then I started posting online. Like I was that afraid. It was crazy.
Dude, me too.
And like thinking back on it, it's just like, dude, I was just in my head. Like all of this stuff mattered to me so much. And it all hit me at once where I was just like, none of this matters. It's like, what have I been doing?
Yeah, like exactly. The majority of guys that you speak to in high school, you're never going to speak to again. Bro, I don't speak to nobody from middle school, and maybe one guy from high school I stay in touch every once in a while, but it's like, dude, you have to realize that you have only one life and you have to live it for your own self, not for other people. Like, for example, my parents wanted me to stay in school, but I had to realize, like I don't want to, and I can't live my life to please them because eventually they're gonna die. Okay. And so at that point, it's true. I'm going to be alone and I'm going to have to make my own decision. So I might as well teach myself now to be self-sufficient. And I know for a fact that, bro, all of our parents, they're not these angels that they pretend to be. Like, they disobeyed their parents a lot of times, okay? So it's like, this is maybe one thing that I'm glad I realized over time. So, Sean, what's next for you, man?
Well, actually, recently I've been working a ton on this coaching business, just trying to get as many clients as I can manage, and then hopefully quitting my job, and then hopefully focusing full time on fitness, because that would that would take every like uncertainty that I've been living with for the past 2 years and just be like, damn, I actually did it. So that's the goal for now. I feel like I'm closer than ever.
Yeah, man, God bless you. And one thing that I'm gonna say that is very useful is when I did a lot of podcasts with a lot of entrepreneurs. I got a lot of multimillionaires, like people that worked 7-8 figures, like Max Lewis and people like this. And the one thing that he said that's the most important for their success, because I asked them, if you could go back in time and tell yourself some piece of advice, what would you tell yourself? And they'd say nothing, because and I was like, wouldn't you tell yourself you made it? And he would say no. I said, why? He said that uncertainty is the thing that pushes you and that makes you try harder. The fact that you don't know for sure if this will work out or not. If you knew for a fact that you're gonna be a millionaire in 5 years from now, if you like really knew, and you like knew that you'd blow up, you'd have one viral reel, now Gymshark will want to sponsor you, and now you'd have all these brand deals, which is realistic, that can happen. But if you knew that was guaranteed, you would be more likely to take days off. You'd more likely to,
dude, I'd be online gambling right now.
Yeah, dude, like, so it's like maybe uncertainty is a part of the process, because I struggle with this too, man. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, bro, I'm wondering if what I'm doing is working. Now, obviously, I do see like the results out of it, but it's also just like I'm thinking, man, how long is it gonna take, right, until I make it? But I have to also realize that once you make it, you're only going through this transition period once. You're only once in the trenches, like building your dream life. So it's like you might as well enjoy the rough patch of a ride, because you're gonna be telling stories of how hard it was. So it's like the cooler the story, you're gonna make it now. And that's one thing that I realized over time, man. It's like I'm trying to embrace the suck sometimes, because sometimes it genuinely sucks. I wake up at 3 a.m. like yesterday. I went to sleep at midnight and I woke up at 3 a.m. after 3 hours of sleep, cold shower, coffee, and do a podcast. And I had to pretend like I'm the happiest mood in my life when I was feeling like shit. But it's like, I now look back at that and I'm smiling because I'm happy I did that. And I'm happy I didn't go back to sleep and I didn't cancel and didn't miss that opportunity, right? So it's like, yeah, this is a transition period, and like uncertainty is a good thing because it like pushes you. But it's hard to always believe and have faith in it, long term.
Yeah. I feel like most of... Actually, just go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like most of my uncertainty comes from people not seeing my full vision. And then they almost kind of get in my head like, oh, this isn't going to work. You need to focus on something else. You need to get a different job. And then I start thinking like that. And then it's just,
I used to struggle with that too. And what's the one thing that helped me the most? Like the one thing that completely fixed this problem for me. If I asked some of my friends or my parents or my brother or whatever, what they think about this business idea, they think maybe it's gonna work, but also don't count on it. Like get a job, like go back to school, just have plan B. Ask an entrepreneur like Max Lewis, who was worth $50 million, or ask some millionaire or somebody that I did a podcast with that's very successful. Ask them, what do they think about the podcast that I'm doing? Do you think it has potential, etc.? They think, well, if you do it for enough years, of course, it's like inevitable. It's like I'm 100% certain that if you keep doing what you're doing for the next 8 years, you are gonna reach that $1 million a year market revenue. It's like they say that it's certain. They don't even think that it's probably gonna work. They say it's 100% certainty. And why do they say that? Because they've been through that path and they see that consistency over years is what gets you there in the end. So it's like, I'm now like, if somebody says that it's not going to work, take a look at who is telling me that. Somebody who hasn't made it yet. Well, they obviously don't know, and I don't know that yet too. But every single person that's made it said that it's certain to work over a long period of time. So it's like at this point, it's like inevitable. I'm like more certain now. And this is like the one thing that completely changed the quality of my life, man, because now I don't like actually stress about things. Like, okay, I know that if I don't know, if I stop making money, if I gotta move out or whatever, and I gotta pay a higher rent and whatever, I know that I can get a job and work on my side, on my business, in my free time, and I can keep building it all the time. So it's like, that's the one thing that I'll never give up on. Because as soon as you give up, you can say goodbye to that dream. You can say goodbye to everything you ever wanted. Yeah, that's one thing that I've been thinking about lately. So where can people find you, man?
I mean, I'm on YouTube, Instagram. I post the majority on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay. I'm gonna leave all the links in the description. I'm going to leave all the links in the description. Like, guys, thanks a lot for watching until the end. This was an amazing podcast. Sean, thanks for taking time out of your day for this. And with your mind, guys, I'll see you all on the next one. God damn, bro. This was amazing.